This week, we're going to build the ultimate Biltong slash Jerky Dryer. Now, I know for a lot of our viewers that's watching our videos on a international base will not really understand what Biltong is. Biltong is a South African delicacy. It's basically meat that you air dry. And I honestly think that for international travelers that's coming to South Africa, that's visiting our country, there's three reasons they come to South Africa. Reason number one is to come and visit the Kruger National Park. Reason number two is to come and visit Cape Town, Table Mountain. And reason number three is to eat biltong. Biltong is a true South African delicacy. And I honestly think that in 1652, when Jan van Riebeeck came to the Cape of Good Hope, he brought us biltong. Now, I honestly think that biltong did not originate in South Africa. I think this comes from way back. I think it is an old method in drying meat. Now, I am specifically building this biltong slash jerky dryer box for one of my friends. Now, this friend of mine, we normally buy each other very expensive whiskey each year for our birthdays, but this year he decided to stop drinking at all. So I had to come up with a plan B. Plan B was to build him something special, to building something unique that he can take with him forever. Now, luckily for us, me and my buddy, both of us like hunting and both of us like to eat meat. And I know for a fact he has got no biltong dryer whatsoever. But the whole purpose for this build was to manufacture him a biltong box which is gonna be a display unit as well. I don't want him to put this box in his garage where no one can see it. I want him to put this box as a display unit, as a masterpiece in his home. So when his friends and his family walks in, this box needs to attract a lot of attention, and it obviously needs to sell more boxes for me because I am obviously the one that came up with the concept. It's as easy as that. And I honestly do have to say, we manufactured the first box and we took a lot of pictures, very beautiful pictures, I'll show you now. And we started advertising these boxes and to see where it's gonna go in the market. And we already sold 5 or 6 of them, and we are busy building another 4 or 5, I think, which means we already technically sold more than 10 just by building one of these boxes. Back to the build. The specific wood species I am using is called Kiaat. It also comes from South Africa. It's an insanely popular, insanely beautiful wood to build furniture with. And the reason for that is you'll see this wood has got insanely a lot of character. It's got insanely a lot of colors and grains, and overall I would say this between Kiaat and rustic oak and normal prime oak is one of the most popular wood species in our country to build furniture with. Now, these specific holes we're drilling in the side of the boxes, on both sides of the boxes, we drilled them on a CNC machine just small enough so flies and insects and all those little bugs will not enter the box. And we also do need to remember that we are going to install a fan at the back of this box, which is going to push the air out of this box, because the air obviously needs to go somewhere and it's going to go through these holes. And we also took the liberty with our CNC supplier, which can cut any dimension, any size, any design, and we asked them to cut the side handles for us as well. So the side handles for this box where you're going to pick it up, that it's going to sit flush with the wood. These holes I'm busy drilling now is where we're going to have small aluminium beams on the inside top of our box, where we're obviously going to hang our biltong and hang our droewors and chili bites. Now, I know the next question you're going to ask me is, what is droewors? Droewors is also a South African delicacy. It's basically a sausage, a thin sausage, which you also dry, and you call it droewors. Now, I don't know if Americans or wherever you're watching from, you have something like this, but I honestly do encourage you, when you come and visit our country, you absolutely have to eat biltong. And I personally think you will only find the best biltong and droewors in the world in Pretoria, Gauteng. I won't say we have a ton of butchers that's got the perfect recipe, but I know a few. So if you come this side, you can pop me a message on Facebook and I will direct you to the perfect butcher selling the best meats and the best biltong and droewors you'll ever get in your life. Now, I'm just busy gluing up my pieces of wood, and I've done this in two sections. First the top side and the side, and doing it on the other side as well, and then I glued everything together. I'm using some wood glue and a nail gun. I'm not too worried about the holes for the nails because we are going to close this afterwards with some Kiat wood filler. The box is quite rugged. The wood basically speaks for itself, and the wood filler we used closed the small little pins of the nails perfectly. And to make sure I've got a 100% square box, I'm using some massive speed squares on the inside to make sure my whole box is going to be square once I'm done. Now, I also didn't want to build the box too big, because then it's going to take up too much counter space in my French kitchen. After my wood glue has set, I am going to give my box a quick sand with 180 grit sandpaper. Then we're going to move to 120 grit sandpaper. And where my 4 pieces of planks comes together, on the outside and on the inside, we're going to add some wood filler as well. Now, this is just to basically close that micro gap between the 2 pieces of wood. And this is a new addition to our tool family. It's an edge sander from Festool, and I honestly do have to say that this was one of the best investments we could ever invested in a tool, in having the perfect flush edge on all our projects. We also use this on our epoxy tables, and I honestly do have to say that you will have square wood once you sand with a sander, because the reason we like it is, if you're freehand sanding your edges, you're never gonna get a perfect edge, because you're never gonna have the perfect angle to sand your sides of your wood. This is where I'm basically demonstrating on the inside corners of our wood. We're adding some wood filler, then we're going to wipe it with a damp cloth to remove most of the excess wood filler and to have a perfect inside edge of our box. After I sanded my box to 180 grit, I am going to come with my palm router and give my box a small 45-degree chamfer only on the outside. The inside, we are going to use a different technique, which is going to give us a smaller, smoother edge. And I also have the big sander from Festool, but we invested in the smaller one for the smaller projects, which is obviously more user-friendly when it comes to smaller projects. The big route is just too big for this, and it's obviously a little bit more weight as you get to the end of your pieces of wood. Now I'm just busy finishing sanding my box to 180 grit, and this is the method I was telling you about, just giving it a light sand with 220 grit sandpaper. the inside edges of our box, because I don't want the inside edges to be a very sharp edge. Just a slight 45-degree chamfer. Minimum. After my box was done, I decided to add this little piece at the back, just for more long-term stability. If the box, for whatever reason, with wood expansion and crimpage, might want to do in cold weather or hot weather, that the box is always going to stay square and it's going to give more stability to my box. Just adding our branding, our signature. This is basically going out with all our pieces of furniture, and we are super proud of our brand. Oiling my box, we are going to use Odie's oil. I absolutely love using Odie's oil. In one little bottle, you have an oil you can use for indoor furniture, for outdoor furniture. You can use it for your leather products, and it's a food degradable oil in one little bottle. That's what I love about this oil. And you'll see me applying this with a sander on a low RPM. Basically, the way I see it is that the vibration of the machine basically massages the oil into the wood and into all the little grains. And we love using this method, and applying Odie's oil by hand is no more for us. Absolutely not. And check this corner. Boom, it broke on the first attempt, and we had to come up with a plan B to drill into the perspex, and I'll show you guys later how we done this. Back at my friend's shop, which has got the CNC machine, we are going to add the side handles for our box, which is smooth aluminium. I think this is going to give it a nice look and finish to the box. And you'll see on the top of the box, we accidentally drilled into the biscuits. Now, just checking that all the wiring is going to work before we add it into the box. And you'll see the box is turned around now, so we are working on the top side of our Biltong box. And we cut with the CNC machine a groove on our top piece of timber, so you don't see the LED light. And it's also quite critical that inside this groove you don't oil, otherwise the strip for the LED is not going to stick to the wood. And we did end up applying a little bit of glue just to make sure it's not going to come loose within the future. So this is the back of our box, and as you can see, my friend, the CNC expert, we already pre-cut with the CNC machine all the holes that needs to be drilled through the perspex into the wood. And we went with a smoky frost finish at the back, which I think looks beautiful. If you're going to look at the box from the front, you're going to see the wires and maybe the wall at the back, but I think we just decided to go with a frost, which I think looks absolutely beautiful. Now, just fastening the perspex to my box, it's also critical that you don't drill too hard, otherwise the corners are going to break. Just testing the whole system and see if it works. And we went with a computer fan, obviously, and we did test it afterwards to see if it works, and it does work absolutely perfectly. And we ended up connecting the fan and the lights on one switch, so you don't have to switch the light or the fan on separately. You just plug it in, you switch it on, and then the whole system works. My friend also has a laser machine, which we all obviously benefited from, and we printed my friend's name, Legend DK. His name is Dwayne Kloppers, but we call him Legend DK, on the front perspex of our box. Now, this was one of the mistakes I made. I was supposed to put the steel beams on the inside when I glued up my two pieces of wood together, and I had to end up cutting my aluminium small little beam shorter And I had to glue them with a very strong all-round silicone to make sure the beams are not going anywhere. This is the front panel of our box, and we welded 20 by 20 square tubing steel. We painted it black and we put a perspex on the front, and I'm not sure what you call the screws, but it's got no fastening point on the front, but you can fasten the screw at the back. So it basically pushes through the perspex, it pushes through the steel, and you fasten it at the back of the steel. So the front face is going to be a smooth, clean screw head. The next step in our project, on the inside of our steel door, we're going to add a one-sided foam which only sticks on the one side. So when we're going to close our steel door, that between our steel door and our wood is going to have a very good seal, so there's no air that's going to come out there. And then it was time to add my hinges to my box. So my steel front door is going to be secured to my box. Just marking exactly where we need to drill for the steel. And I'm going to add some tech screws for this. We didn't have small enough screws to go into the hole, so we just ended up using self-tapper screws for this step. And on the side of our unit, we added a small little clip to make sure you can manually clip and unclip, seal the box, so the front door is going to stay closed. Now just testing the box by adding some smoke inside to see if there's any leakage in front of the door. And I honestly do have to say there was some minor smoke coming out the front door, but the main air came out from the sides, the small little holes we drilled. This perspex I'm adding is a drip tray, so when you're going to add your biltong or droewors on the inside of your box, that the blood and stuff is not going to leak onto the wood. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoy the final product. Let me know down in the comment section, what do you think of this biltong / jerky dryer? Would you have done anything differently? And before you go, make sure you subscribe, support the channel by liking this video, and just give me a thumbs up. It's honestly just helping the channel to grow and to help me build more projects like this. Thanks guys, I'll see you next week with another super cool project. Cheers!
We've been building epoxy tables for many years now, and we are finally going to share all our methods and techniques with you. My name is Greg, and I am going to show you how to build the perfect epoxy table. I'm going to show you all the tools you need, exactly how to use them, and show you some tips and tricks down the line. Everyone thinks you need to cast your second layer of epoxy once your first layer has set. That's not true. You need to cast your second layer of epoxy once your first layer has become tacky. This masterclass has been designed for all woodworkers, from your beginner all the way up to your experts. Click on this video or in the description down below for more information.